Hello, welcome back to Send Him Off. My name is Sam, and joining me, as always, for another What Football Means to Me is my ever-present podcasting partner, Alex. How you doing, mate?
Excited. I'm great today. I love what football means to me, and I
Mate,
love it even more when we got a very special guest. And
yes,
no one more special than one of our special guests.
yes, it is making his
Emphasis on the
return.
special.
He's making his return. We've managed to entice him back somehow. Uh, he was our Fulham representative in the summer for our Premier League pre-season previews, and we're joined again by actor and star of this country, Martin Mucklow himself, Paul Cooper. Paul, thank you so much for joining us
Gosh,
again,
what?
mate. Pleasure to have you back. How are things?
Yeah, good. What an entrance that was! Wow, I think the word "special" has been mentioned 50 times.
And yeah,
First
I,
minute.
I don't I
Oof.
don't throw that word around lightly. I don't
No,
throw it
I
around
know.
lightly, I'll be
So I'm
honest.
Well,
absolutely honoured.
not a bad start for your boys this season in the Premier League.
Yeah, although we've had a lot of injuries, and it's really shown that we've got no, we're bare bones really. Squad's poor, so we've got a number 10 playing at right back in a 4-3-3 format, which is crazy because the other right back we bought is so poor,
Yeah.
so we're really struggling, and the centre half playing at left back, and then it's you can't do that in the Premier League. So every time we've done that, we've lost. But yeah, no, pleased, yeah.
It's
And
not
Mitro's
bad.
banging them in. What
I
did
was
I
gonna
say?
say
15 to 20, didn't I think.
I can't remember. I feel like I disagreed with you there, but I think you're making me look a bit silly now, to be honest. I
Nothing
can't
he
remember
Yeah,
if
does.
I
he's got
did.
7.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's got 7, and
yeah.
he's been injured for a couple of games, so not bad.
He's been a
Right.
dream in fantasy team.
Yeah, he has. He has.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, absolutely.
let's delve into why we're here. So we always start pull these episodes with some quick fire questions. So we're going to ask you for something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. So first of all, something old, your favorite retired player. Something new, your favorite current player. Something borrowed, your favorite player who's been on loan at Fulham. And then something blue, the saddest, or the player you were saddest to see leave Fulham.
Now, just quick, the first two
Blimey.
questions, something old and something new, they don't have to be Fulham.
No.
The last
Mm.
two, something borrowed and something blue, they do.
Right. Yeah. So the first one, retired old days. Well, the first team I used to watch was Bideford,
Right.
and I was fanatical about them from when I started watching them in 1962. We drawn 3 all away at Colchester in the FA Cup, and we had 5,500 in Bideford. It was 1962, I think, and yeah, so that was my first big game. And there's a guy called Peter Druce, and I thought he was on the same because living in Bideford in North Devon, that was the only football you could see. And Peter Druce was basically Messi to me. So he's probably dead now, but anyhow,
but
it was
but
sort of,
listen, he's had a mention on send him off. I
You
bet
gotta
he never
mention,
that's
forgot.
so
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I
he's
uh,
probably
I
his
went
It
to
was all
relatives
for
are probably
something in the
weeping
end.
now.
I
Yeah.
went to Bideford in the summer. It's lovely there. I went to Bideford. I stayed in
Well,
North Devon.
yeah.
I stayed in Appledore.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Well, I was in Northam, which was just you go through Northam
yeah,
at the same time as Rose West lived there. So there we
lovely.
go.
All right.
And of course, I followed them to Gloucestershire. So yeah.
This
Wow.
is already a start. I never
Do you
expected
know
it to
I
start
love
like
the
this.
fact that Paul, you've been on this podcast twice. You mentioned Fred West last time, and now Rose
Yeah.
West is going to mention this time.
What he thought, balance it out. Chuck the
Yeah,
other one in, no?
definitely.
Yeah,
We'll have
the
him back again. It'd
West.
be Jeffrey
Oh, they
Dahmer
were,
now.
yeah.
Um, right. So something new. So your favorite current player.
Favorite current player. Yeah, it's got to be Mitro. I think. Yeah, he's been
Going
an
for Mitrovic.
absolute legend. Yeah, he's been a legend.
Nice.
That's
Incredible.
fair enough.
What he's
That
done. Yeah, coming
Paul.
in, he came on loan, and we didn't look like we'd get promoted. That was a few years ago when we went up, he came at Christmas and completely changed it. You
Mm.
know, and we went on a 23 match unbeaten, run until the last game against Birmingham, which meant we went into the playoffs. But yeah, he's incredible. Yeah, and I think he's really strange. You know, the year he had in the Premiership with Parker, and he was playing with a winger up front. And, Mitra only played a few games, but yeah, he's been amazing. Absolutely
I think he's
inspirational.
fine. I'm glad to see him that he's finally come good. You know, like he had that season. He was sort of neither there at Newcastle. He'd been banding around a bit, and it's good to see him finally come like into his own because he's a proper old school striker. Like he'll get in your face and he'll play off the shoulder, and and he's got a bit of pace about him as well.
Yeah, and funny enough, he's the end of last season, but particularly this season, he's dropping back and linking play and defending really well. So he's the first couple of years it was just up front, but now he's kind of all over the pitch and running at dribbling past players like he did against Virgil van Dijk in the first game. I mean, he never did that a couple of years ago. That wasn't his game, but Marco Silva's worked wonders with him, and he's got a lot of assists as well as goals in the last couple of seasons. So yeah,
really coming into it. So something borrowed. So your favorite player that's ever been on loan at Fulham, and you said Newcastle. We talking about
yes,
because I was thinking it might be Mitrovic when he came on loan.
Yeah. Gosh, that's a difficult one. Just trying to think who's been. I'll go with Mitrovic. I just can't think of anyone else at present.
It's a good answer anyway. It's a good answer anyway. But
for the reasons previously
we got
outlined,
Mitrovic.
Something blue. So the player you were saddest to see leave the club.
Oh, easy one. That would be Dembele, who went to Tottenham. The Belgian guy. He was just absolute class. Probably the best player. I think he's the most underrated player ever in the Premiership. Talk to Tottenham fans, and they just thought, he was just the bee's knees. He just effortlessly beat players. So very sad to see him go. And in fact, as soon as he went, we got relegated. We'd been in the Premiership for quite a few years, and he went, and we just folded. Yeah, brilliant player.
Dembele seems to be one of them players. I think that is telling that a lot of ex-pros who played against him and with him also said that he's one of the most underrated players and one of the best.
Yeah, very true.
Players they played with. I always think that's so telling. So there we are. It's good. Good start. I'm liking it. So shall we get into the nitty gritty? Al,
yes, right. First? I commence. Right. So these are just questions about you. Now this is all about you. So question number 1: what is your earliest football memory? I think we got a rough idea based on your something old, but earliest football memory.
I mean, watching or playing.
Either. Whatever came first.
I think I got football for a Christmas, and that was it really. I was kind of watching it match of the day on TV. So we're talking about early 60s, and then going to watch Bideford, 62, 63 around then was the kind of my a mate's grandfather used to take me, and because my father wasn't interested in football, he was a rugby player, and I mean they were just brilliant memories, and Bideford then would get 1,000, 1,500 most games, kind of non-league football down, that was the Western League then. I think they're in a higher league now, but that's probably that kicking a ball around and Bideford. Yeah,
that's what it's all about, isn't it?
I love when we have a grassroots answer. I love it. Right. So what's been the biggest high as you're during your time as a football fan? What's sort of been the pinnacle?
Yeah, the biggest high was definitely Wembley against Aston Villa. I think that was that was brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. To go up, because I just cannot fathom what it must be like to lose in that game.
We
can.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
I mean,
nice.
it's isn't it? It's just that kind of leaving the stadium, and you think, oh, I mean, it just the joy and the sorrow. I mean, it's God. That is such a that particular game is just incredible.
Were you allowed to go to the ground that year? I can't remember.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You were.
Yeah,
did you go
yeah.
down?
The second one we didn't. That was the Brentford game, which would have been even better, obviously, if we'd been there beating local rivals Brentford.
Did you get tickets to go down to watch them?
Yeah. So I was there with Charlie. Yeah, and some friends.
What was that like?
Just incredible. I mean, there's a video somewhere at final whistle. We're holding each other, crying emotionally. I think it's on Charlie's Instagram, so somewhere on there. Yeah, just the most amazing feeling, and also, isn't it? Because you've got 40,000 fans there when you normally have kind of 20,000 odd. I mean, that's kind of weird, and everyone's dressed in white, and you've been there. I mean, it's just such an occasion. The atmosphere and everything is just unbelievable.
Horrific to lose, though. Awful.
Well, we've done both. We've gone there and won, and then most recently we went and lost. But when we won, it was packed, and I was lucky enough to be there. And yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I actually got dumped on the day we lost the playoff final.
You got dumped?
Yeah.
You didn't mention that.
Yeah,
double whammy.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, I'll tell you after, Alhu.
All right. Can't go into it now.
I'm not naming her. Right.
Do I know her?
Well, there's been more than one. That's good. Whoa.
Do I know her? Moving on. He's like, just shut up and move on.
Moving on.
Right. So you've had your highest point. What is the lowest point you've had as a football fan?
Yeah, I think the Magath years. He came in. We got relegated with him. He came in fairly late. The German coach who was a complete and utter nutter. And we started the next season with just the most bizarre kind of team with youth players and the third in line goalkeeper and stuff like that.
I bet he thought he was like some sort of visionary coming in. Like he thought, I'm going to change this team, and they'll not know what hit them.
Just bizarre. And I don't know if you know. I don't know if you know the story about. I think it was Hangeland still there just for a bit. That can't have been him. Where was it? And he said, well, and had an injury, a bruise, and he said, you know what was put on that? Cheese. So he thought that extraordinary bloke. I mean, he's actually managing again, I think, in Germany. But his ideas were just absolute. He was just an absolute nutcase.
Cheese on a bruise.
Putting cheese on bruised legs.
Any specific kind of cheese?
Probably Emmental, I would have thought. Yeah, I mean, look it up. It's just absolutely fucking nuts. I mean,
honestly.
And he'd kind of find, youth team players if they were, 20 grand, just he was an absolute lunatic. The stories that are, coming out since, from people who worked at Fulham at the time, and the
amazing.
Just the players we had was absolutely appalling. So luckily he was sacked in the end. But what a nutcase he was. Yeah,
I was expecting that.
I feel like every.
I happened to be in Germany. I had to actually be in Germany when he was just when we got him, and I said I was in with a whole load of football thing we were doing, and I said, "What do you make of him?" And all the Germans just started laughing. The whole bar started absolutely cracked up and said he's kind of. He's 1890s kind of, coach.
Every club, I do think every club's got one where they look back and go, "Why?" I mean, ours is obviously
Bob Bradley,
Brad Bobley,
the man himself.
The American guy.
Yeah. Strange time that was. That was a really weird time.
Very weird time. Right. So, Paul, what's your best away day been? What's your favorite away day you've been down to?
It doesn't necessarily but it doesn't have to necessarily be for the football. It could be for whatever reason. It could be, you had hospitality, something happened outside of the game, whatever. Any good stories from an away day?
Yeah, the one I really liked was the season when we went up after that brilliant Wembley, and we played. We were already down, and we played Bournemouth away, and we had a relegation party, so everyone wore Hawaiian shirts, inflatables, and it was all sharks and everyone had water wings and stuff on. It was just a laugh, and we actually won 1-0. So Mitrovic got a penalty, so that was just very fun. The weather was brilliant, and we had plenty to drink. And in fact, we went down. Charlie and I and the family went down to and stayed on a caravan park for the weekend. I think it was Easter. And we had a brilliant weekend, just all round. Saw lots of mates down there. Yeah, relegation party. Yeah,
I don't see when the Swans were getting. I don't think any of us were in the mood to have any kind of party because we knew we were going to be down for a while.
Fingers crossed now, Paul. There'll be no relegation party this year.
Yeah.
We'll be going for a mid-table
I hope not.
party.
Yeah.
You can bring your Hawaiian shirt out for a mid-table finish party. I think that'll be a nice one. So you've had your relegation party. This next question is, what is on your football bucket list? So you've done that. That's off your bucket list. What's left on your bucket list? Your football bucket list.
I guess a European a European run, European trophy, because when during the last one, unfortunately, it coincided when I had a disastrous financial crash in my life. So I lost my house, my job, and everything. So I just had no money. So the only games during that, when we went to the Euro finals, the only games Charlie and I could afford to go to were like League Cup, when it's a tenner, and there's 8,000 in the ground. So that was the big, so we missed out on all of it. It was
but you didn't win it. You didn't win it. So did you really miss out? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, kind of 15,000 went to Hamburg, and you kind of think, and I'm not,
Yeah.
So that was the dark times. Well, not dark times for the football, but dark times for Charlie and I. So never mind.
That Fulham team, that team is one of my favorite Premier League teams of all time.
Yeah.
It's like proper nostalgia. Like you look at like Dempsey, Andy Johnson, Zamora, Zoltan Gira, Hangeland. Like who's the left back? Was it Konchesky?
Mark Schwartz in goal at the time.
Yeah, Chris Baird.
Yes, that's right.
Well.
Yeah.
Aaron Hughes. Oh, what a team! What a team! That is heritage.
Yeah.
Do you have Simon Davis as well?
Yeah, Simon Davis. Yeah. And Murphy in the middle, centre.
Danny Murphy. Yeah. Great team.
So,
really good team, actually.
Yeah, superb. Yeah,
really good
superb.
Team. So, this is my favorite question, Paul. I look forward to this every time we have a guest on. It's a double-edged question. First of all, who or what is your football guilty pleasure? We now know though it is Swansea.
Apparently,
as we were discussing earlier. And then also, who or what would you put in Football Room 101?
Can I go to 101? Would be bloody VAR.
VAR.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw any of the West Ham. We should have won 1-0. I mean, they had 3 absolutely ridiculous VARs, a penalty and 2, and they handled it twice when they scored. I mean, it was just absolute nuts. So I think that could ruin the game. I think VAR is much.
Do you think VAR's improved over the course of the time it's been introduced, or do you think it's just not at all?
No, I think it's got worse. I think it's got worse.
Okay.
And when you see it kind of in the Euros and stuff, or abroad, it seems to work. But
Yeah.
here we have this kind of weird thing, and if and it's people are kind of seem to be quite scared, about how they use it. I mean, I know virtually every club will say, "Oh, we were robbed with VAR," but the inconsistencies are
Yeah. Totally.
are just and you kind of people kind of score and they don't particularly celebrate because you've got to go through all this bloody rigmarole. I'd much prefer it if it's just if the referee makes a mistake, then it's a mistake, and I can handle that. But I
That
can't
seems to be like
handle this.
it seems to be the universal opinion. Like everyone would just like referees get enough stick, that's fair enough. But everybody seems to think, right, well, I'd rather the referee make a mistake and just that's the way it is, rather than have to go to VAR and scrutinize everything. Because I find watching Swansea in the Championship, and I don't know about the other 72 clubs, but I find watching Swansea, it's much more enjoyable watching them 3 o'clock on a Saturday, as opposed to going home then and watching, like, I don't know, who, like Fulham, for example,
Yeah.
and then they're watching them
Yeah.
in the Premier League, and you've got to sit through VAR as well. I just find it sucks the fun of the game almost.
Like a goal's a goal, and as
Yeah.
much as I hate it, and it winds me up, like it's part of being in the ground. Going,
Yeah.
I was never a goal. He was
Yeah.
miles offside. Like it's
Yeah,
part
yeah,
of it.
Yeah, that's it.
Part of the game. And
Yeah.
I'm all for it being. We've spoken at length about this. Like we've had a rugby referee on talking about TMO and how it's different and how that is working so well. But I don't know. It's just I feel like there's finer margins in rugby, and they're trying to make these finer margins in football, like with the lines, and because he's either on or he's off. Like
yeah, and it's all this complicated. But you'll see one game, and then the later game will have exactly the same thing. One's given
exactly.
a goal by
One will be given. Yeah.
handball.
You're totally right. Absolutely right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's all this weird thing as well. When the referee runs to the small screen, he'll agree because the people.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah.
It's just a definite. So there's a bit of a. I don't quite know what's going on. Yeah, it's bizarre.
What about your guilty pleasure?
Guilty pleasure. Or just having a few bit. I don't really drink, but I have to drink when I'm at football. It's just but I have a few pints. As I got older, I can't. My kind of beard isn't so interesting, but I just have to have a few beers before. It's just ingrained in you. I think
You've got to do it. Yeah.
I think it was back
Get
watching
dressed,
Bideford as a 5-year-old knocking them back. So I think it's just habit. I think it's got to be that. Yeah, you can kind of and just let your hair down a bit.
Yeah, you can let off a bit of steam in the ground. I know exactly what you're saying. I think there's many people listening now that would say exactly the same thing. Just let a bit of steam off, have a few beers, and that's what it's all about on a Saturday.
Yeah, I'm pretty vocal.
Oh, are you?
Vocal. Yeah, when I get there,
you don't strike me. You don't strike me as somebody very vocal in the stands. Which stand do you sit in? The Fulham mental stand? Do you sit with all the lunatics, or?
Well, there aren't any lunatics at Fulham. They're all eating cheese and drinking pork.
They're putting their cheese on their bruises. That's where all the cheese is going down Fulham.
I think we're the only club that hasn't got a firm. We sit in the Hammersmith end. Yeah.
Well, Paul, I sit next to this gentleman when I go down with them, and I sat next to him last night, and I think my left eardrum is perforated. So
I will admit I'm quite loud.
Honestly, he's like a foghorn. It's ridiculous.
It's not me shouting abuse, or it's just me singing, and I just like to make sure everybody can hear.
Anything so loud. It's like a jet would fly over the stadium and he's running out. It's ridiculous.
Right, moving on. So we've had your guilty pleasure run. What does the game mean to you? Very broad question. Answer it however you want. What does it mean to you?
Well, I was thinking, as a player when I was younger, only at local level. But I've played in a few charity games. So I played against Terry Payne. That was my the Southampton player in England who was in the World Cup squad. As a coach, I was, when Charlie started, it was 5. I started to coach the team he was in. So I was a coach for 13 years, poor boy. And he was under me for 13 years. And then I did some, coaching as an adult, being the director of a children's football charity, being an author. I wrote a book, Chapped Legs and Punctured Balls, which was just all about playing in North. It wasn't a great success. In fact, I've got an email. I'll quickly read this out because this was written about 15 years ago. And then I got an email. Where is it? Oh, you've got to hear this.
See, this is you don't get this with other podcasts. No, I would never have expected this.
If you said it wasn't a big success, just you wait. It's been on send off now.
Yeah.
5 more people in the world know about this book now.
Yeah, this is it. So
the last 5 will fly.
This was a book that was written about 15 years ago, and then I got a letter out the blue. Hi, Paul. Long time no contact. The time has come to pass the rights to Chapped Legs back to you. And we couldn't call it, we wanted to call it Jumpers for Goalposts, but the Fast Show have actually copyrighted that, which seems nuts.
Okay.
We have sold only 5 ebooks in 8 years! Exclamation mark. And the physical book has stopped selling. Only 9 copies were shifted in the last 2 years. We owe you £5.75 in royalty. So that was my writing career. But what a book! I don't know if it's
don't worry, because now everybody knows about it. We'll make sure everyone.
It's going to be a book. It's going to be a film,
only if we star in it. Can we star in the film? If we make it to screen, there we go. We're great. We're golden.
Happy days. So to fit, what does the game mean to you, Paul?
Yeah, to summarize it,
So, kind of everything. Well, it's my life, really.
It is,
from that Bideford to so now, and I've just come back 2 weeks ago. Come back from Belgium. We had a week with a charity and 60 kids from 16 countries. So it's everywhere in my life, really. And now I've got grandchildren. I've got 2 boys and a girl, granddaughter. So there may be the football thing, and I'll be getting the old coaching thing.
There we go.
Yeah.
It wasn't for nothing, as it turns out.
No, and I think the stuff we do with the charity, football, and I keep going back. I know we talked about this last time. We play on the Flanders Peace Pitch, where the most important game of football ever took place between one of the games between the Allies and Germans. So, and people go back to football. It's they had that downtime and they chose to play football. So it brings so many people. It's a simple game. Well, it was before fucking VAR. It brings everyone together. It brings everyone together. It's, you go anywhere in the world and you can strike up a conversation about football.
Absolutely.
Maybe, Paul, by the time your grandkids are a little bit more grown up, you'll be a New York Times bestseller now.
Yeah.
After this.
And we'll be Hollywood actors. So, everyone's a winner.
That's right. Yeah, definitely get you guys in the film.
Oh, yeah. There we are. Sorted. Happy days are we can give up the pod. We'll be filming.
There we are. Yeah.
Paul, what's been your favorite football moment of the season so far?
Haven't been to many games this season, but Charlie and I went to the Brighton game at home, and I think beating them because they were, that was Potter was still there, and they were that early run were doing really well, and we would play some great football. So I think that game we won 2-1. We went 2-0 up, and that was a great game. Yeah, really, really good. And I thought, watching that, we've got a good chance of staying up this season. That's been the best for me.
There's nothing better than watching your team win against a team you've never thought you'd beat. Not necessarily never thought, but like you go into that game and you think, oh, I don't know about today. I don't know about it. And you come out with those 3 points. That's a good feeling. That is a really good feeling.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So, favourite football moment of the season. Is it an obvious question? I don't know. You have to answer it for me. Who will win the Premier League?
Man City.
Yeah,
Man City. Yeah.
Are we saying Arsenal are in there?
No, I don't think so. No.
I think they'll tail off. I think they'll.
We played Arsenal away, lost 2-1. Scored first. We shouldn't have lost that game. And again, there was a VAR and whatever. I wasn't hugely impressed by them. I think they'll definitely blow out. I think they'll they may finish second, but definitely they ain't going to win the league. Absolutely.
I think the World Cup is going to crush them a little bit. I think they'll
go
go into the World Cup top, and afterwards, I think they'll just lose all their form. I mean, Haaland's just going to be,
he's going to be. I saw a thing on Twitter, and I can't remember what Rocky film it was, but it was when he was fighting Drago. Which Rocky film was that? And that was just like people saying that's what Haaland's. He's just going to be training.
Pinging balls of Scott Carson.
Honestly, yeah.
That's all he's been doing. Like
Scott Carson's not going to know what's him.
Yeah. I think they'll tail off. Right, Paul. Last question. Been a pleasure. This has been a lovely insight. I think I always think these episodes are really a really nice insight. Just to hear what I like going down memory lane with other people. You know what I mean? It's good. So, what is overall your favorite football memory?
I think probably. Well, funnily enough, probably the first time I saw a pitch at a professional game, and it wasn't at Fulham. Funnily enough, it was 1968, and my grandfather he lived in London, and going out to London from Bideford was a 7-hour journey. And my brother and I went to would take my granddad, and he took us to see Tottenham Sunderland, and just going up those steps. And remember, I'd only ever seen Bideford's pitch before. And you go up those steps, you go through the thing, and you see, the grass and the pitch for the first time. So I would have been 11 then. So it was just about to start secondary school.
Do you know what?
That's just that glance is.
I was roughly the same when I saw, like, I went down the Liberty. And I saw, the Swansea's pitch for the first. I was about the same age, but we were sat right at the top. And I remember my friend telling me, right, you're not allowed to look until you get to the top. I remember turning around, oh my gosh, one of the best things. I'll never forget that. Yeah. Never, ever.
Yeah. Yeah, that was special. Yeah, that was special. And of course, we didn't have mobile phones. We didn't have, all we had was black and white match of the day. That was it, and that just took my breath away, and that that kind of reinforced.
It's really interesting, actually, just that you say that, because when you said because obviously it would have been White Hart Lane. In my head, I just pictured it being black and white. As stupid as that sounds, I just kind of pictured you get into the top or whatever it was, and and it was a black and white field. But obviously, you would have seen the green grass, everything else, But mad.
And of course, the other thing, of course, was watching, although on TV, the World Cup final, 1966, which I watched with my other grandfather, who was a World War I veteran. So,
wow!
Wow!
I mean, that's kind of weird. Born in 1890, and here we are, and it's just kind of bizarre. But again, he loved football, and there was that connection, and we watched the World Cup together. Fine.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome.
What a memory.
It's a great way. Yeah.
What's happening now?
Sorry, I got a call. I don't know. I got a call there.
It was just a state of panic on your face.
Just everything stopped. I thought,
VAR. Yeah, that's what it was. I need somebody to give me some cheese, quick.
What? Flipping out.
Bruises knee.
Yeah. Right to the end as well. Right to the end. There's like
I know.
Episode all the way through.
Yeah.
And then we send him off
Send him off dead right at
We send him off dead. Right, Paul, pleasure as always. We love speaking to you, mate. Thank you so much for coming back.
Well, thank you,
really
guys.
appreciate it.
And giving us such a nice episode. It says these ones make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna go downstairs, have a hot chocolate now.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds like you got COVID. Yeah, warm and fuzzy.
Well, it's either that or we've had
I
it.
haven't long had it. We'll be all right then.
Yeah.
So, Paul, do you want to tell people where they can sort of find you on social media, and maybe you work with a charity as well, as you mentioned?
Yeah, the charity is the Children's Football Alliance. So yeah, and if anyone wants to twin a pitch anywhere around the world, and then you come for a week to Belgium for free. So do so. Yeah, so Children's Football Alliance, just Google that.
There we are. Brilliant.
Awesome.
We'll do it. And you can find us. We're nowhere near as good a cause, but you can find us
Yeah.
on Twitter at Send It Off Pod. And wherever you're listening now or watching, drop us a like and a subscribe, and keep up to date with more episodes like this that'll make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And
or maybe
and
they
also
won't.
The odd little bit of nonsense as well, because we do enjoy a little bit of nonsense along the way. So thank you guys. Enjoy your football this weekend, and we'll see you next week where we've got a little bit more in store. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.